Hey, hello. How's everybody doing? It looks like I'm live. Ah, well, hello, Maud. Long time no see. Hey, Kelly. Might give it just a minute to see if anybody else wants to show up. Hey, Morgan. Today was a pretty long day, so I was thinking of instead of drawing something, we would go through an old sketchbook. I pulled out the sketchbook that I was using for BPRD Russia for this book. We missed you, Morgan, but I'm glad you're here. I hope you're doing good. So this book was my second Mignolaverse book that I ever worked on. And in the trade, yeah, this is all me. And this is the sketchbook that I was working out of at the time that has all my design stuff in it. So like this, I think, was my first crack at drawing Johann in his new little gas suit. Actually, I guess I'm just going to go ahead and start showing this. Why not? This is fun, though. I actually have barely flipped through this. I just sort of knew where it was and went and grabbed it. So this was a design that Guy Davis did. And then this is me just sort of practicing and figuring out how I was going to draw it in my own personal style. Yeah. So this was me figuring out at the very beginning of this, there's this guy in this, like, I don't know what you call this, like a safe suit or something. He goes into this gross place. And this was my my design for it. Me working out how his backpack looked, and it looks like it changed a little bit. I don't know if you can see from there or from here to here. Changed a little bit. Yeah, like I had his helmet being all gas, and it and in here you can see it's like mostly covered or whatever. I don't know why it changed. That's something that's interesting about projects like this. Like this came out in 2000 or at least I was working on it, I think in 2011 or 2012. Yeah, it came out, I think, in 2011. And so it's been a long time. It's been a long time since I've looked at this. Hey, Mark. I was hoping you'd show up tonight because this seemed like it was right up your alley. This is old BPRD stuff. And this is funny. Like this character right here, you can see he's labeled Specs. As far as I know, he that was his name in the script, if I remember right. For a long time, he was just named Specs, this guy, and he sorta comes and goes for a while. I do not remember whatever happened to him, but I think it was not good. And then this guy, this was my first crack at trying to draw where did he go? What this guy ended up being. This is a fun kind of a splash page. I like this kind where it's like a whole splash page, but I wasted a good like third of it to just white space. And I'm not being ironic. I actually love that stuff. And then this guy, his name is Niche or Nietzsche or something. This was my idea of him before he got possessed, and then this is him after. So we see him afterwards. He doesn't look so good. And this was a little bit of a layout for this room in the opening scene, like this scene right here. This is me just sort of working out a layout so I could figure out where to draw it from. My favorite artist on BPRD was Guy Davis, obviously. He was he still feels like the best voice in the series. He defined so much of the series, you know. Him and Arcudi together were a powerhouse. And like I'm really happy for him that that Guy Davis gets to do movie stuff and make a probably a much better living working much better hours. But man, I miss his comics. His comics were so good. And then this is me sort of just figuring out this whole airplane scene. You can kind of see here they're in this special like customized BPRD airplane with servers and computer stuff in there. For some reason, excuse me, I'm like feeling phlegmy today as soon as I started talking. But for some reason, it looks like I wanted there to be laser cutters in there. Oh yeah, James Heron is probably number 2 on the list. His and he and Arcudi too were like very simpatico. Like they worked together so well. As soon as I saw James Heron doing stuff on BPRD, I was like, "Oh, I know they're gonna fire me," and they kind of did. The process, Kelly, of figuring out the architecture designs is kind of straightforward. Like it's a lot of it is in the script. Like if I remember correctly, like this airplane, I don't know if this counts as architecture, but I guess it does. Um, it was described as being like a spy plane, basically, for transporting people and doing spy shit. So that's what. So I was just sort of trying to figure out what like a fancy pants computer spy setup would look like on an airplane. And I don't think I really iterated on this. Like I think I was working so fast on these that I was just like, if I got something good, like reasonably good on my first shot, I didn't like really iterate on it. And a lot of the times iteration on designs is a Yeah, that's just a luxury when there's deadlines. Oh, thanks, Austin. I liked Black Flame was one of those dudes where it's like as soon as James Heron drew him, he looked so much better than when I drew him. He really knew how to like I sort of always have the problem of being able to go, especially early on, like I just was not able to go over the top very easily. I always sort of kept things very subdued and tried really hard to keep them rooted in real life. And it came um there were some conflicts, actually, I'll talk about it when we get to it, but, there was some really difficult communication stuff about this because, they wanted me to get sillier and more, just over the top, wild, and fun, and, I really resisted it. I don't really know why, but, yeah, it was hard for me. And this is a guy, we meet him when we first get to Russia, and they're having this guy has a bellyache, and then the bellyache turns into him being I don't know what kind of monster that is, a gross monster. So this was me sort of figuring out how that would look. Yeah, but a lot of this stuff is back here. Oh, you can see how this was like some of the very last Guy Davis design stuff. I don't know. It seems like this should be in with this stuff, but I loved this Johann doing a Sears catalog pose of his outfit. So I don't know. I thought the sketchbook stuff in here was always pretty good, but yeah, they can always be better, always be bigger. Here's an unrelated barn owl. Here's some like just general Russian soldiers. Just some of the characters that they talk to. Most of these people sort of were one and done. Like they just show up and then that was it for them. Thanks, Kelly. Woo, woo. Here's the design for the Kremlin interior. And this was just basically so I could keep it kind of consistent when they were in here because there are all these scenes that are just sort of moving around, cameras sort of moving around in the room, and I wanted to make sure I kept the trim kind of consistent. And I don't know if my panel to panel consistency was very good back then, but it definitely feels like it's gotten better. Oh yeah, and you can see I was trying to figure out where they were sitting at the table here. So when I like set up a point of view from wherever, I could figure out what was going to be behind them. There we go. And there's Yosef. Yosef was, I think, my favorite character of all my BPRD guys. He and I feel like I'm the only one who drew him right. Everyone else drew him very like angry and stoic and monstrous all the time, but like he's trying really hard throughout this whole series to be like charming, and I thought it was really fun to draw such a terrible like melted face trying to be charming and and smiley and happy all the time. So this is my first shot at his suit. Pretty much stayed the same, although I think he got a little bit thicker. Like his head filled out his bubble a little bit more too. And this was just some quick stuff for these sort of gutter punks that show up, I think, in the first issue. I think in the second issue. Yeah, second issue. They sort of break into this fenced off Russian city, like an old Soviet graveyard where zombies are working hard, carrying bricks. Yeah, I agree, Mark. And like Yosef was not, I mean, he didn't always do the right thing, but he was definitely not like a bad guy. He was not trying to cause harm. He was always trying to actually, solve this problem of the apocalypse. Here's Phoenix. This might be like my first drawing of Phoenix. She shows up in here a little bit, but not much. I think a little bit. I feel like somewhere there's some little cutaway to Phoenix doing something. I don't remember. Was she in the... She might have been in the next series or something, and I was getting ready for it. Or actually, you know what? I think this stuff is starting to get into dang, I can't remember what it's called. The train one. Hold on. Yeah, this is from The Devil's Engine was when I first started drawing a lot of Phoenix. Man, I do kind of miss working in black and white, or at least like my line art, working in line art instead of having to paint everything. So this was like, I don't remember how often Devin, I'm pretty sure Devin had appeared before I ever got to him, but not a lot. I think he was always just sort of like one of the, like when they needed like, 4 different BPRD people, they would make Devin be one of them or something. I can't remember. I'm sure someone watching will be screaming at YouTube right now, being like, issue 49. Yeah, I really liked Phoenix too. I liked that she was sort of like made for, like, she was born when the end of the world had already started and had kind of not known anything else, and was sort of experiencing it from that point of view, as opposed to everyone else who this all felt really new to them. And I liked Devin too. Like he was like not the most consistent person, but he was an interesting character, and he was trying his best. There you go. Universal Machine number 1. Oh, and here's Niche again. Oh, wow, this is like, I do not know why these pages are in this order. And how they're in the sketchbook. But now we're back to Russia. Like, that's the design for this guy. Oh yeah, man, it has been so long since I worked on this. I forgot this is the dude who ends up in chains later. But he looked pretty happy when he was in his little suit. So this is my design for that. Here's an elite trooper. I feel like this guy may have been